it's best not to be brash and do things that aren't a good idea, especially if other people are saying, "Are you sure you want to do that?" I don't think that's a good idea. Then it's probably a good time to stop and think, "Do I really want to do that?" And maybe not do it, especially if other people are saying it's not a good idea. When we lived in Dryden, we built a single ladies' residence for the single staff ladies, and it was up on the hill, a bit away from the lake, and between the building and the lake, there was some brush and stuff that really didn't give them a very nice view of the lake. And so we said, we're going to clear that out so that they, from their house, they have a nice view of the lake. So the maintenance men were working down there, cutting brush and stacking it in piles. And it was a job that didn't have to be done. So they would work at it whenever they had time, but it drug out over a number of months. And so some of these brush piles had been there for quite a while. One day the men were working down there, and I went down to talk to them, and some of these brush piles were around there, and I was saying, we should burn these brush piles, get rid of them. And they're like, well, those brush piles are pretty dry. Like that day, you probably don't want to burn them now. Like let's wait till it rains or there's a little bit of snow, and then we'll burn them. And like, nah, I think it's fine. We can burn them, and everything will be fine. And they're like, well, I wouldn't do it. And I said, well, I'll light them. And so I got some paper and matches and stuff, and I lit the brush pile, and it started burning. And after it started, I realized that wasn't a good idea. And the fire got bigger, and the brush pile was burning. The flames were coming out of the brush pile, and there were some pine trees that were not too far from the brush pile, and the flames got up into those pine trees, and the pine trees caught on fire. Well, then we had fire from the brush pile, and the pine trees were burning, and the flames were going out the top of the pine trees, and it was jumping from one tree to another and heading up the hill. And I'm going to burn this whole place down. And but fortunately, there was enough of a gap between the one pine tree and where it really got into the bush, and the fire didn't jump across, and it went out. But I burned a number of pine trees, and I almost started a forest fire because I didn't listen to people who had really had some good advice. And so when someone says, I don't think that's a good idea, I don't think I would do that, maybe we should stop and listen and not do what we were thinking we were going to do.